In this video, we're going to go ahead and download Kali Linux. We're going to download the ISO, which is the installation interface for installing a Kali within VirtualBox. There are other distribution mechanisms as well. You can put it on a portable thumb drive so you can install it remotely. But for this video, we're just going to download the ISO, which is essentially a disk image, so that we can install it within VirtualBox. If you go to kali.org, you'll find that your website may look a little different depending on when you're watching this video, but you'll want to come up to downloads and download Kali Linux. Now there's a whole lot of different options in here. For our purposes, you can either get the light version if you are running in a environment where bandwidth is important and you don't have a whole lot of it. I'm going to actually download the Kali Linux 64-bit. It's 3.2 gigs. I'm going to grab this torrent here, but you'll notice that there are different versions of this distribution. There's the light version, there's different like KDE and Mate, which are different GUIs that would go on top of it. You notice that there are also VMware PAEs. For example, these are things that help with installing them on VirtualBox or VMware. But first, I'm going to download the 64-bit, and I'm going to choose to do it through torrent. Now, if you don't know what a torrent is, that's beyond the scope of this video, but it will typically be faster to download through torrent. You can also download through HTTP, but it is a 3.2 gig file, so you'll want to make sure you have a good, strong connection. So I'm going to go ahead and choose torrent. You'll notice that my torrent file came down here. I'm going to open it. I have Deluge installed on Windows, so that's how I'm going to install it. And I'm just going to go ahead, hit add, and it's going to take a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. And now with the file downloaded, just to help me get started a little bit faster, we're going to also grab the VBox image. So I'm going to come over to the Offensive Security download page, and we're going to come over to the Kali Linux VirtualBox, and I'm going to grab the 64-bit OVA torrent. So I'm going to go ahead and download that, and I'm going to download that as well in Deluge. I'm going to hit add, and again we'll come right back when that's ready to go. Now while that's downloading, you may wonder why you need both. You don't need both. The ISO is a pure disk image. This is for installing it as a completely raw operating system, where the OVA is a custom image for VirtualBox that has a lot of settings already set up for you. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and install it through the ISO so that you can see exactly how that works. Open the folder, and here is the ISO. So I'm going to grab VirtualBox, I'm going to hit File, I'm going to hit Machine, New. We're going to call this Kali. The type is going to be Linux. And Kali's not going to be listed in here, but I'm going to choose Other 64-bit. You'll want to give it as much RAM as your computer can afford. You see I've got 16 gigs of RAM here, so I'm going to go somewhere around. We'll go somewhere around 8 gigs just for this course. We'll create a virtual hard drive. I'll hit create. Save it right there, that's fine. I'm going to give it 32 gigs of hard drive space. Dynamically allocated means it's not going to give it all right off the bat, so that if I only use 10 gigs, it'll only give it like 12 gigs, right? Now notice that it looks like everything's set up, but if I hit start, nothing's going to happen. It's not gonna, it doesn't, just because I called it Kali, it doesn't know to use the Kali operating system. It's going to say, hey, you need to set a startup disk. So I'm going to head and close out of this. Yeah, VirtualBox, I know. No bootable medium. Power off the machine. So I'm going to come into settings, and there's some other settings we want to set here. So first off, we are going to come into System, Processor. I'm going to give it 3 cores. Acceleration, if you can, you're going to want to make sure your hardware virtualization is checked there. Display, I like to give it as much as I can. Enable 3D acceleration when possible. Depending on your host operating system, that may or may not be feasible. And then I am going to come to my optical drive here, and I am going to choose a virtual optical disk. And then I'm going to come into Kali Linux, grab the ISO, I'm going to hit OK. Now what that's going to do is now when I hit start, go ahead and minimize that, it's going to boot the computer with Kali Linux as if Kali Linux DVD was in the drive. And so now we can go through the installation. I'm going to choose install. I'll do graphical install. And we're going to run through the actual installation. And this seems like a good place to pause.